Heyo everybody, Haku here with HaQ&A 83, and for this one, when it comes to comments, we really don't have a whole lot, so it's going to be a very chill video of just me talking about stuff with you for a while, because I feel like there's just some general stuff that I could talk about just off the top of my head. But yeah, I feel like the reason for there being so many less things to discuss this time around, it's not necessarily that I had less comments for things like, say, B-Stars or Tower of God, but a lot of the things I talked about with different people kind of were just going over topics that we'd already talked about, or kind of a lot of things going over the same topic multiple times, so I kind of felt like it wasn't really necessary to add a whole ton of them in. So we're going to have some B-Star stuff and some Tower of God stuff here, but I'm just going to say it's not going to be a whole ton of it. Maybe a good couple minutes of discussion of each, maybe. Um, and another reason why there's not a lot is because a lot of the things that we talk about were on break last week, because of Oban, it being a holiday and all coming up this week. Everything last week was on break then, all the scanlations and such. So again, that's another reason for it. So yeah, some general things, some updatey things before I get into talking about something I want to talk about. So for the new series that's going to be showing up on the channel on Sunday. I'm excited for it. It's looking like I'm still waiting for one person from the patrons to get back to me, and that was something I was just about to forget. Before I forget it, the patrons shout out, Pinky95. I'm not sure who they are here on YouTube. I'll still need to figure that out, and if they tell me, I can shout them out again next week or something. But they're a patron, and so is Aiden. So big thanks to both of you. And yeah, those were the patron shoutouts. But for the patrons selecting a new series that's going to be on the channel weekly on Sundays, I'm still waiting for... Sorry, geez, something just happened with my throat. Oh, geez. But I'm still waiting for one to get back to me, but at least for right this moment, it's looking like it's either going to be Assassination Classroom or Seven Deadly Sins. Now, I'm going to say probably the manga for either of those, but if you really want me to do, or if they really want me to do the anime instead, I can do that. But it's looking like it's going to be one of those two manga every week on Sundays on the channel, so that's going to be cool. I did let everybody know, though, that when it comes to Seven Deadly Sins, I've actually seen the anime, so I actually know a bit about the series because I've seen the anime, but I haven't read the manga. And just generally, I liked the anime. I watched it shortly before I started doing YouTube, I think. And I liked it so much that I marathoned the whole thing in like one weekend. I wouldn't say like it's anywhere near my favorites. I wouldn't even think of it. If I was thinking of favorites, it probably wouldn't even be close to top 10, top 20. But I would love to see what the manga has in store and all that. And as for Assassination Classroom, I'd be going in completely blind. I know absolute nothing about it. I know that there's the teacher. I think his name might be Koro, and he's some sort of tentacle monster thing, but that's literally it. I don't think I've ever seen any other characters other than the tentacle monster teacher thing. I don't think I've seen any other characters from Assassination Classroom before, and I have no idea what the world is supposed to be like or what the story of it is. So if I did that one, I'd be going in completely, totally blind. So depending on what the patrons decide on, you'll probably see the first video of either one of those this Sunday, hopefully. So yeah, that's going to be a new series that's starting up. And of course, every 3 months, patrons will get to vote on a new series to either take that spot, or they can just vote for me to continue on that same series until I finish it. Or until they get bored of it and want to vote for me to do something differently. But yeah, there's that, and there was one other updatey thing, I think. Oh yeah, as far as streaming goes, I'm not saying like immediately soon, but like sometime soon-ish. I might want to do just a couple chill streams, just me talking to you all, where like the chat can just say some stuff and I can just talk back and forth with chat or whatever. I don't want to do like any like video topic type things in stream format, because I feel like I still like to do those sorts of things as videos in that sort of format. But yeah, I'd maybe just put on a game, something else to be on screen while we're talking, or something else for us to like talk about in the dead space between sort of finding things to actually talk about. So yeah, I might just play a game or something, talk to you all for a bit, just something super chill. I might start doing that, just not on any sort of schedule, just whenever I have time every once in a while. It's just been something I've been thinking about, and I might start doing it kind of soonish. And when I say kind of soonish, I don't want to say like a definite, like, oh, super soon. Maybe just maybe in the next couple weeks or something. I don't know. Depends, again, on what kind of time I have, how I'm feeling, what I'm motivated to do when it comes to that, you know? Because it is something new for me. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was to just talk about for a bit something I'm doing in my free time. So for the past couple weeks, I've started rewatching Naruto, and right now I just got, so yeah, this is how long it's taking me to catch up or anything. I just started with the tuning exams. So yeah, just whenever I've been like eating lunch or something, or whenever I do actually have time to eat lunch, or even sometimes eating dinner, or just if I have any extra time, I'll just throw on an episode of Naruto in the background. So that's something I've been catching up on. And I was going to say something along the lines of, yeah, I like it even though I know I give it shit a lot, but I really don't even give it that much shit. My opinion has always sort of been that of the sort of big three anime that everybody knows, the big three from Shonen Jump, that were really super popular when I was first kind of getting back into anime as an adult. Of those three, my opinion has always sort of been, I find Bleach's world and power system to be super interesting, but I find Bleach's plot to be definitely the worst. Whereas with One Piece, I really like the world and power system, but it's maybe the least interesting of the three to me, but the plot is just untouchable where the other two stay. And Naruto's just in the middle. It has a good, I think, world and power system. I actually really like the world and power system. And as far as the plot goes, it's got like super high highs and super low lows to the point where I kind of feel like it's hard to generalize the entire series by saying the entire series is good or bad, because it has some really excellent moments and storylines and some really not excellent ones. So it's got very high highs and low lows. I think it's a situation where, to me, it's in the middle. Like, it has a plot that, again, is nowhere near as cohesive and good as One Piece, but definitely way better than Bleach. And on the other hand, I definitely love the world and power system more than One Piece, even though, again, I love One Piece's world and powers. But I just think the system behind Naruto's is so much, well, I don't want to say better because it's an opinion thing, but I generally prefer the world and power system. And I don't want to say its power system is way worse than Bleach's, because that's maybe overestimating Bleach's, but I absolutely love Bleach's world and power system. So again, it's just one of those things where Naruto was always the middle child stuck in the middle for me when it came to the big three. So yeah, very high highs, very low lows. And where I'm at with it actually is I read the manga, and then I read like as things were happening, as things were going on. I was current with the manga. I dropped Boruto after maybe the first little bit of it. I didn't go very far into Boruto. And what else was I going to say? And I read like the sort of side manga that were put out between Naruto and Boruto. Now, I love the idea of Boruto. I think that Boruto is a thing where again, I'm not really caught up with it, anime or manga, but I feel like it's a situation where the anime or manga, so I can't talk too much about it, but I think maybe they're not doing it the justice that it could be done, but it has the potential to be great, just as good if not better than like part 1 or part 2 Naruto. So I legitimately think that Boruto as a concept could be the best part of the three so far, but I don't think it's being handled that way. But then again, not caught up or anything. And that's the thing. Like I said, I read the manga and stuff. But as far as the anime goes, once the manga ended, I kind of just gave up on the anime. I didn't watch the rest of Shippuden. So that's why I want to marathon through Naruto to catch back up, watch all the filler, just because I like having the extra content. Watch all the filler, watch all the movies, because I don't think I've seen all the filler movies. So yeah, go through Naruto, go through Shippuden, and then get into Boruto so I can actually experience it. And yes, I know I've seen some clips from it of the animation being pretty atrocious at times, and stuff, but I just think it's generally a series that I've always kind of loved because it's something I grew up with. I think when I was a kid, falling out of anime is around when it was first starting, and I had like seen quite a bit of it as like an 11 or 12-year old before I fell out of anime, before getting back into it as an adult. So yeah, it's something that I really do enjoy and I would love to catch up to, just to see how things go in full. And I think I'm doing it anime-wise just because I don't feel like reading the Boruto manga. I would rather, again, because I know they added so much in with the anime, I would rather just have that extra content. I've never been one to even though Naruto's filler is notoriously not good, even in my own opinion, I've never been one to hate filler necessarily. I loved all of Bleach's filler arcs, and One Piece you can't even really count because all their filler arcs, except for a few, have just genuinely been really good, even better than some of the canon stuff. One Piece has just generally had really good filler, so obviously I can't say I dislike One Piece's filler. So it's a situation where even if I'm not a big fan of Naruto's filler, I just like having the extra content. I've never been one to dislike filler in a general sense. I like having some anime-only content. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. That first arc is really, really good. In fact, that first arc is one of my absolute favorites. And here's the thing. For as long as Shippuden is, I'm like, yeah, there's some stuff I like here and there in Shippuden, but when I think about the best arcs, if you were to tell me, name Naruto's best arcs, the first three things out of my head would be, oh, the Zabuza and Haku arc, the Sasuke retrieval arc is probably number one for me, and the Chunin exams. And then, even if you were like, name a fourth one, or name a fourth or fifth, it would probably be the Kazekage rescue arc, the first arc from Shippuden, and the arc where Naruto and Jiraiya go to find Tsunade. So again, like part 1 Naruto, even though it's much shorter than part 2, would have like 4 out of my 5 favorite arcs. But yeah, Zabuza, the GOAT, the best. He's so, so good. And episode 19, if it wasn't for the like annoying Sakura stuff, could be like a perfect episode. It is so seriously good. I've always loved that episode. The Demon in the Snow, I think is the title of it. Ever since I was a kid, I have loved that episode. It is so good. And it was so good just recently, the other day, getting to watch it again. So yeah, I'm excited to catch up with that, and maybe if some of you want to talk about that here and there, we can talk about it. It's not really a thing where I'm worried about spoilers, obviously, because I have read the manga for Naruto itself. I just haven't finished the anime. I don't know much about Boruto, though, except for some of the things I've seen not being that great. But still, I love it as a concept, and I'm excited to see what enjoyment I can get out of it, because here's my thing. I don't get particularly attached to a certain group of characters as much as I do a world. I want to see the story of a world, which is why I love Boruto as a concept, that Naruto's story can kind of end, but that we can keep continuing on because the world keeps moving on. I like that. I like to say, okay, some characters can die off or can fall out of relevance, and we continue on with new or more characters. I just like to see the story of a world be told. So that's why I like Boruto as a concept, and if a series can continue on for forever and never end, I know some people just like their series to have definite endings, but I'm not one. I don't really care for endings. If a series can go on for forever and never end, I'd be totally happy with that. that's just kind of the way I am with things. But I guess that's all that there is to discuss about that or anything. I just wanted to kind of talk about it because it's something I've been doing in my own personal time that I've enjoyed. And again, what little personal time I have, because I've only made it through like 20 episodes and it's been a couple weeks. So I should maybe step it up a little bit. But yeah, either way, that's it for just some general stuff. Now I'll get into talking about Tower of God, then I'll do Beastars. Okay, so to talk about some Tower of God comments, again, this is probably going to be really quick. I only have 4 topics. So starting off with aldnoah.0 2014 A/C24, my very first commenter ever. They said the fights. I try to. There's like a ton of you now. But I try to remember everybody and what everybody says. But yeah, Aldnoah says, the fight is going to be awesome. What do you think's going to happen in the next few chapters? For me personally, I'm hoping that we're going to see more of this challenge. I don't want this challenge to get interrupted too soon. I already feel like it's going to get interrupted by somebody, probably multiple people, in multiple different ways. But I kind of want to see it play out some before then. I want to see Bomb fight this guy before then. I want to see maybe Karaka and some of Doom's high rankers do some stuff before then. I want to see Kun and Berdish's storyline before then. So yeah, I just want to see some of this stuff happen. Then we can get into it being interrupted. But one thing is that if you notice in my videos, I really don't talk about predictions or theories very much about the future, and that's because some people already know what's coming 3 chapters ahead. And it's a situation where this comment got me thinking that I had said before that the Fast Pass is really going to hamstring a lot of discussion because of that, but it actually really hasn't. It hasn't been as bad as it potentially could have been with hamstringing discussion for the series. So yeah, that just is something else that got me thinking of. Next up, AlphaCent007 said, I prefer the term Rugrat over regular. Also, I'm sure the other regulars and rankers will get involved. The 6th leader just got an order from Yama to help Karaka's plan. And yeah, I don't prefer the term Rugrat over regular, but I like that the K9 people use the term Rugrat, even though I really don't like the term personally. I just don't think it sounds very good. But I do like that they use it because it adds some extra depth to the world, that you get different people, different sort of races, using different terms for things. Like they still obviously know what a regular is, but they have just sort of this own term Rugrat that they use to call young people or regulars. So I like that. It adds a little bit of extra depth to the world without having to put in much effort to give us that extra depth. So I like that. It feels natural. Also, I'm pretty sure, yeah, like I said, people are definitely going to get involved, like the other regulars and stuff, and probably Kel Hellam, people like Jordan. So I'm sure that people are going to interrupt this thing. I just hope we get to see plenty of it happen before it gets interrupted. Next up, Slayer nominee said, was that skeleton armor guy's position mentioned? I only ask because Karaka used something similar when he lost to Mazano on the floor of death, but his looked like his head. Scouts have some interesting tech to help escape dangerous situations. And I added this in. This is a comment that I already brought up in the review this week, that it's a very, very good point, where I was like, why does it look like his eye shot out or whatever? But this is I was like, is it an escape pod or something? But this actually, calling it back to what Karaka did before, is a really, really good point. It is, I don't remember the full details surrounding what happened with Karaka, but this is very similar to that, when Karaka was just in floaty, tiny head tadpole mode. And of course, both Mule and Karaka also have similar armor, which to me strengthens the possibility of it being a similar ability, where the more similarities you can draw between Mule and Karaka, from their armor to them both working for FUG, to them potentially both being scouts, it would make you think more and more that, okay, this builds the case that that might be the same technique that the two of them are using, the little tadpole head escape pod mode. So, very, very interesting. And lastly, the fourth topic, Piyush says, I'm starting to think of transformations like ignited weapons. And I think that is pretty fair thing to say. Because from what we've seen, at least on a very surface level, how they work in the story, they're pretty similar, so I think that's totally fair. But the difference here is that we actually have a little bit of explanation of how ignited weapons work. The ignited weapons work because there's some sort of devil trapped in the weapon that, when it is ignited, sort of releases its energy to have the weapon use its ignited ability. So we have a little bit of an explanation. It's still mysterious what devils are and all that, but there's at least somewhat of an explanation, whereas we have no explanation for how transformations actually work yet. But I think we're going to get one. At least I definitely hope so, but I think we are, because I think at some point we're probably, and again I say hopefully, going to learn the true past of Yama and his brothers, where they actually came from. And if we do learn about Yama and his brothers and where they actually came from, then that's probably going to tie in hand with an explanation of what this transformation power actually is. The way Kel-Helm's getting involved, you could even maybe say that he or FUG in general had something to do with it, that maybe they had some sort of sketchy hand in whatever mysterious unknown past that Yama and his brothers have. But there is something there. There is some unknown past. If, like, at the bare minimum, we should definitely get some story to explain that at some point. And if so, I would think that transformations and the actual explanation for them would be intrinsically tied into that. But yeah, that's it for some Tower of God discussion this time around. Now, next up, we have one comment for Beastars, one topic to talk about that I had got sort of multiple comments to talk about. But Benjamin Allen said, I don't know if the tattoo has any specific meaning, since last chapter Legosi just said today's date offhandedly when the guy asked him what he wanted. Maybe it'll have some sort of significance in the future. And yeah, I totally agree with that, and agree with what some other people said. There's a very good chance that the date that Legosi got tattooed on him has no actual real meaning. There's a really good chance that the date has no real meaning. But with the time frame we're working with, I think that we started around the summer of last year is when the story started. So if that's the case, like, not like in a meta sense, but in the actual plot line of the story, the actual story started around a year ago, so the date could be like when he met Haru, or when he saved her from the Shishigumi, or something to that general effect. The date could have some sort of significance to it, or there's a good chance it just has no meaning at all. But the meaning of Legosi's tattoo was something that enough people brought up that I was like, we can talk about that in the HaQ&A for a quick minute. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's discussion stuff. If you have anything you want to talk about in the comments or talk about next week, comments are pretty free game. If you want to subscribe for more of all this, much more on the channel, follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel, or talk to you there. And also, if you want a link to our Discord server, just ask and I can give you a link. We can all talk there about anything. And if you want to help support the channel and keep it going on Patreon, not only would that be super duper helpful, but it's also a situation where you get to, every 3 months, like I was talking about before, get to vote on or suggest something to be covered on the channel. And it looks like the first one that people have decided on for me is going to either be Assassination Classroom or 7 Deadly Sins, coming up soon. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.